So my background is a little non-traditional. I did not go to art school, or I was not formally trained. I kind of restudied art in college during pharmacy school, and I started doing commissions, which are custom paintings for people. As I graduated, then I started playing around a little bit, started painting what actually interested me, and I just noticed I liked painting women, specifically brown women, a lot. So a lot of my work now focuses on colorism, uses a lot of bright colors, focuses on identity and female empowerment. I started using upcycled sari fabrics in a lot of my works too, and it also incorporates themes of sustainability. And now I kind of want to be an art leader, not only an artist, but a leader in the arts. So that's why I curated this art show, and I brought a bunch of South Asian artists together to show their work. So I've done a lot of art shows across the country and large art fairs, and I felt like South Asian artists and their artwork were often overlooked, or I felt like they had some pressure to shrink themselves and whitewash their art more. As a South Asian artist, if I didn't even show my South Asian art at a art fair, I felt like even when the South Asian people were coming, the patrons were coming, they would just walk past me and completely ignore me. So I just felt like we weren't appreciated, and I was getting a little discouraged. I felt like, wow, there is no appreciation and no market for South Asian art. But I wanted to change that. And to make a change, you have to start with something, and you have to start somewhere. So I wanted to be that start and the push to that. So I was like, okay, why not just curate my own show and bring everybody here, bring everybody who likes South Asian art to one space. So we don't, as artists, have to go and look for those spaces ourselves, or go to the wrong types of spaces and not be appreciated. So I put an open call out because, of course, I had a few artists in mind that I thought would be a good fit just from interacting with them on Instagram or knowing them in person or going to their shows. But I put an open call out, and everyone was welcome to apply if they were South Asian and their artwork fit the theme of South Asian fashion, which is the exhibition's theme. And then I went through all the applications, and I looked at each application individually, but then also looked at them all as a whole to make sure they all kind of connected well together and looked good on the walls together and told a big story together. Like, I had to look at the bigger picture. So South Asian fashion to me is just in style. It's just how you show up every day. It's what you wear every day, how you style it. It doesn't necessarily have to be for the rich and wealthy, and it doesn't necessarily need to be luxury brands or designer brands. It can just be your earrings, your jewelry, how you wear your hair. Like, I know we wear a lot of braids, and then like all the bright colors we wear. And I think now, as an adult and with mainstream media, I think we are getting a little more comfortable in wearing little Indo-Western styles and incorporating little pieces of our style and fashion into our Western looks, which is kind of cool because we can pair some Indian earrings or jhumkas or a nice necklace with an everyday like jeans and t-shirt type of look. This is a curated sari from a South Asian brand that I'm partnering with, and I just paired it with a regular like corset top that you could wear with jeans or a skirt to go out in. So I like to mix and match a little bit, and that way you can kind of blend both the cultures. And actually, at the opening night last Saturday, I had worn a corset top. It was a very gold shiny corset top that I got custom made from a designer in Mexico City. And then I paired it with one of my mom's older chiffon saris. And I thought that looked like really went well together because it kind of was very modern but very chic. And it reminded me of like one of the Met Gala looks. I think over the years, South Asian fashion has become more experimental and more accessible. If you remember, like when we were kids, like the only way to really get like an Indian outfit was if some auntie or uncle went to India and brought you back some, or if your parents went and you'd bring like suitcases full, and then they would just like kind of sit there if you didn't wear them. But now we have like Etsy, we have online stores, we have Instagram. Like you can kind of get stuff online and ship to you wherever, which makes it so accessible for us. But also, we are having a lot of Indo-Western and fusion styles going on now, upcycling saris and making more modern outfits so we can wear them more regularly and honor old traditions, but also pairing like modern tops, like this corset with a traditional sari, and adding jewelry pieces and Western outfits. So I think it's kind of cool. We're getting more experimental and we're just more comfortable wearing it. I think before when we were children, like it wasn't cool and we were kind of embarrassed to wear Indian clothes or South Asian clothes out in public. And now I feel like so proud rocking it, and I like to make a fusion outfit. And people are giving me compliments all the time, like, "Oh, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that?" And it's like finally, so this is what we were waiting for. We're finally being appreciated. had over 50 applications, and I went through each one individually. They submitted an artist statement, they submitted an artist CD, pictures of their work, explanations of their work, an artist bio. So I looked at each individual thing very carefully, and I also looked at the sizing of the work, the colors, theme, the subject matter, and I wanted to make sure all the work fit well together, but also fit well in the gallery. So by size, I didn't want to take all small pieces, but all big pieces. I wanted a mixture of sizing. So that was like kind of the first step, kind of figuring out what sizes would fit. Then I wanted to make sure like I took a different subject matter. So not all figurative work, meaning like figurative is like a woman or a man, like an actual like human figure. We have a variety of different types of and styles of work, some abstract, some figurative representational work. And I think it's like really cool that everyone's work is so unique. And I also didn't want everyone's work to look the same either. So I wanted to pick artists with very unique individual styles that incorporate their culture and storytelling in their works. Also, make sure the work is high quality. Is it framed well? Is it labeled correctly? Did the application, did they follow the instructions of the application? Did they submit their materials on time? So there's a lot of things that kind of go into selecting the artist. So South Asian art is so deeply rooted in storytelling and our cultural heritage, and I feel like it needs to be preserved. I feel like as artists, especially in the West, sometimes we feel like we can't take up space or we need to shrink ourselves and then be pressured to create non-South Asian art or very whitewashed Western art like neutral landscapes or pastel abstracts, which is, they're all beautiful, but then are we doing that because we love that, or are we pressured to create something else and not honor our heritage in our art, like preserve our art? So I want to make sure that people know how important South Asian art is and how important our culture is, and that there is a space and that there is a market for it. And that's exactly why I created this exhibition, because I literally filled all the walls with that art. And when people came to opening night, they were in love with the artwork. We had 89 sales. That means people actually bought these pieces and went home with them to put on their walls. So just like proves that we don't need to shrink ourselves. We don't need to be shy and not take up space. Like there is room for us, and our art is appreciated and needed in this world. And there are a lot of brands, like especially luxury brands like Prada, Chanel, Ralph Lauren, Zara, and all these like Scandinavian scarf looks that seem to be like knocking off our South Asian culture. I don't mind when people in the West wear clothing and jewelry inspired by South Asian culture. I think it's actually them appreciating it. I don't really think it's appropriation unless you're not crediting it. So if it's not a South Asian brand and Ralph Lauren is just saying this is like a vintage skirt, tie-dye skirt, or vintage earring look, and you're not crediting where the actual idea came from, then that is appropriation. But if you're just rocking a South Asian brand, like if I saw a lady on the street rocking this and like crediting that it's from a South Asian designer and from India itself, then I would be like, okay, cool, girl, like you're appreciating our art, like I love that. But if you're gonna be like, oh, this is a vintage silk wrap and like calling it something else and not for actually what it is, and I think then that's where we have that issue.
My name is Pranav Santalvel, and the two pieces I have today are titled Sengandabaram, which is a photo of a small house in my father's hometown, and then another piece called Crushing Cinnamon Leaves as well.
Hi, I'm Janak Narayan. I'm here from McKinney, Dallas, and the piece that I have is called Give Me a Helping Hand.
Hi, my name is Amy Malkin, and the name of my artwork is called Invisible.
My name is Hema Mistry, and my piece's name is Floral Fabric.
My name is Shakti Tibrewal, and the name of my piece is Adornments. It is a lady, the feet of the lady wearing a lot of anklets and a lot of toe rings.
Hi, my name is Arusha Ananda Kumar, and the title of my pieces are Shringaram and Hasya.
My name is Rain Tim, and the name of my piece is Full On Wargi.
Hi, my name is Purvi Shah. I have a couple of pieces here, but one of the signature pieces I have is What Does the Season Say?
My name is Tara Bika, and the name of my piece is Imperfect Duality.
I'm an engineer by day, photographer all other parts of the day. I'm from Tamil Nadu. My mom is from a tiny village called Kalidekuruchi. My dad is from Jangwindam. I've been there, visiting there all my life, and I would say that's home just as much as Austin, Texas, where I live.
I have a lot of duality in me. I'm a full-time professional artist, but I'm also a full-time financial professional.
I am a full-time professional artist, and I am from the country Gujarat. I'm based in Houston, Texas.
I am an art teacher, and my family is from Gujarat. I'm based in Plano.
So I used to be an architect in past life. Now it's past life, but I've been painting for 5 years now. And I grew up in Gujarat, which is west of India, and I belong to Rajasthan. That's why I have the culture, like I understand the culture of both the places, and they are both colorful and rich. Currently, I'm in Houston, and that's the plan to stay there.
I'm in high school right now, but I'm from South Asia. I'm from Tamil Nadu, more specifically Coimbatore. I'm from Frisco, Texas.
I'm a tattoo artist and cameraman. I'm technically based nowhere. I'm very nomadic when it comes to camera and tattoo work. I travel wherever the client needs me. I have a storage unit here, but like I'll be in Miami later, for Orlando, LA. I just happen to be in Dallas for this month. My parents are from Cambodia.
My occupation, so I do investment banking full time, and I am an artist as well. I call myself working 3 jobs because it's your full-time job. You have to be an artist and then also marketing and the business side of it. So yeah, that's what I do. From South Asia, I'm from India, and specifically from the central part of India. That's where my parents are from. I'm based in Houston, Texas.
I'm a jewelry business owner. My brand is called Couture Studios, and ethnically I'm from Gujarat, India. I'm based in Seattle, Washington.
Both Crushing Cinnamon Leaves and Singing the Barn are part of a larger body of work I did when I was in college in 2024. I was a South Asian Studies major, so I was traveling across South Asia doing work on my thesis, which was studying the impacts of British rice distribution on famine in World War II. And I just found myself with my camera in all these places, in Sri Lanka, in my dad's hometown, in my mom's hometown, traveling across Punjab, Delhi, Agra, all these different places. And I just wanted to capture, I think, the beauty that was still persisting despite all the, I guess, more dramatic and post-colonial impacts that I was really studying on the academic side. So I found myself just trying to get both sides of the picture during my travels, and that birthed into a series, which these 2 photos are a part of, called Parisu, which in Tamil means gift.
This is part of a collection that was there in a solo exhibition about 18 months back. And this was from the collection called Portraits in Resilience. And I went all the way to India and met all the people that I had over the years not seen them, not respected in the way that I just saw through them. So this was a great opportunity for me to go and like the flower maker, the vegetable vendors, the bricklayers, and she was a vegetable vendor that came across, and I really felt that I had to give homage, because over the years I felt that I had not given respect to how much she's got the resilience to go on with life and be able to sustain all her things that happen to her. In spite of that, she keeps smiling.
My piece is essentially draping a woman's body in a dupatta. I'm using resin and currently using a mannequin to get the effect of a woman's body. And the piece really represents the divine femininity in India. It represents our power. It represents our strength. It represents our culture. It also talks about just everything that we go through as South Asian women in a very patriarchal society.
So my piece is floral fabric. It encompasses all of the different types of fabrics that you would see in Indian clothing. I really am inspired by Indian clothing because it has so many patterns and textures to it, and that's really great for art making.
It's a visual which I see among the housekeepers, the house helpers that come to our house, and the ladies, the street vendors selling vegetables. They'll be wearing such nice jewelry, such nice and traditional jewelry that has passed on from generations, not just that they bought. So it has a lot of value to them, and you can just by looking at the feet and hands, you can tell so much about a person. Like in India especially, you can tell a profession. For example, You can tell profession what the person does by looking at the jewelry that they are wearing, and that really makes me think like the feet is like a canvas of beauty, where the feet will tell you a lot about the story. And so I wanted to depict the feet, and you can just imagine just by looking at the feet that how that women will be dressed up, and they do all the labor work day to day, like so much work wearing all that. That really gives them the confidence, like to look pretty. Even though you're doing hard work, doesn't mean you have to wear t-shirt and jeans. I do, and most of us do. But they'll work hard, like labor work, wearing all that, and they really look so pretty. And the composition is an inverted V, which in Indian culture represents Shakti. And my name is Shakti, and it's the feminine divine energy, the creative energy of the universe. And that's what I wanted to represent by inverted V, the composition. And also it makes your eye go to the main part, which is the feet.
To me, I wanted to commemorate and really represent like the different expressions that we see in Bharatanatyam. As a dancer myself, I see that there are so many expressions that dancers make that can really tell like an entire story by only using their expression. So Shringaram is one of the Navarasams, and it is the expression of love or shyness, whereas Hasyam is the expression of laughter and joy.
One of my model friends reached out, and she's asked me to help her celebrate Punjabi New Year, I believe. And I asked her, like, hey, like, let's go to a garden. What makes you, excuse my language, what makes you feel Punjabi as F? And I let her pick out her outfit, and then we just found a beautiful garden of tulips, and we just found the perfect composition for it.
My piece, What Does the Season Say, is inspired a lot by South Indian fashion, in that in the Gujarati culture, we have an outfit called Gharchola and Panetar, which is worn by the bride when she gets married. It's in a very specific color story, white and red, and that's what my piece is inspired by. You'll see a lot of henna work on all my pieces. That's just my way to symbolize the beauty that we have in our Indian outfits in form of the borders. And you'll see a mounted piece on top, which is, again, just an immigrant experience of how two pieces can be so different but work in cohesion. There's harmony, yet there's tension.
It's a butterfly piece that's on glass with acrylic. It was inspired by my love of jewelry and my love of the adornment of butterflies, and bringing those two motifs together to make something that's kind of a little bit surreal, but also connected to jewelry in general.
For me, I think I have a very personal relationship with South Asian fashion in the sense that I've been trying to incorporate it more into my day-to-day life. I think that South Asian fashion is so unique, not just because of its cultural history, but because of its impact on the world. Tons of fashion has traveled across the Indian Ocean, across the Silk Road, and coming from a historical perspective, it's been really interesting as an academic to study those impacts on the world. And I think that part of what I'm trying to do, I guess, every day is trying to incorporate more of that into my personal style, into how I represent myself and represent my community when I'm out and about in the U.S.
South Asian fashion is so today. It is all over. It's in Paris. It's in all the fashion. It's in Milan. It is about owning your heritage. To me, South Asian fashion is about being who you are, your authentic self. You can change and evolve and be Roman. You can be American in America. But in the core of you, you are an Indian. And Indian art, Indian couture, Indian jewelry, everything about India is so beautiful that we have to embrace it and see how we can add that into this tapestry that we are also a tapestry. We are Indian, becoming a part of the country that we call our own and we adopt. Same way, we have to take that jewelry, we have to take that couture, we have to take that fashion and embrace it and make it kind of where it becomes in union and it becomes beautiful. It's the authentic us in a much elevated, in a very proud, in a way that says, I love it and it's beautiful.
Essentially, South Asian fashion is really the innovator, despite
what Western people think or people from America think. A lot of the couture things that we see on the runway are inspired by Indian fashion, South Asian fashion. I mean, if you look now currently, some of these designers are repurposing the dupatta, which is one of my art pieces, as the Scandinavian scarf, or the jumpals, and even the paisley prints, the boho prints that were influenced like the 60s, and all of that are all come from India. So we are really the innovator and the trailblazer when it comes to couture.
South Asian fashion is very influential in my life. I grew up basically being told that it's not cool, and it actually really is. And all, like, you start seeing it in a lot of the pieces that people are wearing throughout your day, and it's like, wow, it's really cool to know that people are wearing things that are from my background.
Like all Indians, I grew up in India, and I have been surrounded by the colors, the textile, the amazing craftsmanship by the beautiful, like the work of the beautiful craftsmen all around me. And I've been fascinated by all the traditional art and the work that people put in every little detail. Like that little detail, they'll put in so much work, and the way they work with hands. But in today's time, what I feel is that fashion is taking the traditional and experimenting with it, and a lot of fusion is happening in India, which I really like. I feel that bringing the traditional, bringing your tradition with you, and incorporating it with your story, that really adds to making it yours, and not just carrying the traditional in the way that it was. Like, this is my mom's sari, but I wore it in my style and my jewelry, and not the traditional way. So I really like that the fashion. And for example, Manish Mohan Malhotra is in Met Gala. So everything, like the fashion, Indian fashion is coming to light, and it's becoming more contemporary instead of the plain, simple, like the colorful vibrancy.
To me, South Asian fashion is something that has been around for centuries, and it's a way that we connect to our roots. Because saris and kurtis are so timeless, when you see your mom or grandma wearing them, it's not only a trend, it's a way that we connect to our roots and our heritage, and something that we can touch back with our ancestors and everything. And to me, kurtis and saris and South Asian fashion is one of the most timeless and beautiful pieces in the world.
Fashion, to me, it's a form of moving art. Something you get to wear. It's like a haircut that you can change every day, or even a tattoo that you can, it's how you express yourself on a daily basis.
Loud, gold, color. That's what South Asian fashion is.
South Asian fashion to me is all about maximalism. It's about the height and pinnacle of adornment, and just being as flamboyantly you as you can possibly be, and just really using every medium that you can to express yourself and your culture.
Crushing cinnamon leaves depicts actually my mother, basically with her palms open, holding crushed cinnamon leaves, and they emit a very distinct smell. But I think also, if you look at the photo, I intentionally kind of created a composition where it's just basically my mother's torso, her arms, her bangles, the like simple red dress she's wearing, and I think the goal really was to kind of capture like the backyard experiences you really get in like rural South Asia, whether that's India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, anywhere in South Asia. I think that one of the most interesting things is not just city life, but also that rural life. And I think documenting that, I hope, could kind of bring a different, I guess, less extravagant lens to South Asian fashion. I think, obviously, dress fashion in South Asian design is beautiful, but I think also there's a lot of beauty in the everyday fashion of people who live there, us, and we travel. So I think that was something I hope to capture with that piece. And then second, the Baram, I think, is also kind of leading into that. It is the picture of essentially a house across from my dad's home temple, and there is a man on a scooter, I believe, driving across the scene. And I think it's kind of a testament to, I guess, the everyday fashion and the context surrounding it. I think there's a really interesting discussion about fashion not living in a vacuum, and I think this photo captures that in a sense, in that it shows, I think, the pulse of not just place, but the person, not necessarily through like what he's wearing on his most precious days, but what he's wearing in the morning on a random Wednesday.
The way I had done all the collection was I had created all the materials. So this one had the sari, it had this beautiful border, bright primary colors with contrast border is a very unique theme of Indian outfits. Indian saris are full of contrast, full of a lot of paisley patterns, and that is the one that I have created in this painting. And it looks beautiful, it looks beautiful no matter how old it is, how many times she's worn it. When you just watch them, they look so vibrant and so full of life.
On a literal sense, I'm using a dupatta, which is, the textile, and it's very common.
My piece represents South Asian fashion and culture through the use of Bharatanatyam, which is originally a Tamil Nadu classical dance, and it is now done by so many, and it has touched so many. And I just really wanted to show how South Asian fashion, like Bharatanatyam traditional costumes and culture, can really impact our world and how we tell a story.
To me, again, it celebrates her culture. She's very proud to be Punjab, and to me, I can help celebrate that with my lens.
The detailing of the border, the color story, that all ties back to the theme here with couture, culture, and fashion.
For my piece, jewelry is a very heavy part of the piece, and so I feel like jewelry is the cherry on top of the outfit for every South Asian girl. It's always the thing that kind of completes the whole look.
So I'm a photographer. I first came to this medium, I think, in college. For the most part, I dabbled in it in high school, but I took a class called photographic storytelling, where the professor was living in her car, driving around the country, just taking photos. And we talked about photos, and I always thought, it was a hobby, but never something I could really pursue. And I think, unfortunately, one of the photographers I most looked up to, Raghu Rai, just passed recently, and he was a big inspiration for me. Captured kind of, I think, something that I think is common in both these works, like the everyday life that seems so fleeting in nature. It was something that I was drawn to with photography, just trying to document that and capturing that. It's something I do every day. Like, I bring my camera everywhere I go. Some of it, ends up as pieces. Some of it ends up as archives that never see the light of day, but I think they're equally special in my mind.
My medium, my schooling, my education, and my lifetime painting has been in oils and acrylics. I love acrylics only because it can add layers after layers. It's quick turnaround, and I enjoy that. Like, my paintings have about 15 to 20 different layers on them. They evolve from when they started to how they are in the end, and you can see all the layers, and it's very exciting. It's like a kaleidoscope, like a mosaic-like finish, where you see the bottom layers, and I enjoy that.
I use oil painting for my medium, and I chose this medium because it's honestly easier for me to use because it has a slower drying time, which allows me to really take my time and put all my effort into it without just rushing to just create a piece. I can really put meaning and all my expressions and my thoughts into my piece. To me, dance has really influenced my art by not only my work ethic, but also showing me and shaping my skills. Because expressions are so important to me, I pay such attention to the eyes, because the eyes can truly tell a story, and they are the windows to your soul. So when I focus on painting, I always pay so much attention to the eyes and the little details that the eyes can really show, like your expressions and all your thoughts.
My medium is photography. For me, it's a convenient yet very difficult form of capturing a moment.
I use oil and mixed media. I use mixed media because it gives me a lot of flexibility with what I can do with my pieces, and oil is my first love when it comes to colors. It gives the art piece a really rich texture and a cohesion that no other medium can. So mixed media and oil is my favorite.
My medium is acrylic, and I paint it on glass. It's actually the first time I've ever used glass before as a canvas. And I wanted to challenge myself to try something new. I love acrylic because it's really easy to work with. It's very quick to use. It also dries quickly, so it's a little challenging as well, but I love that part of the challenge.